You like games? I've been known to enjoy some games of chance in my time. Let's talk about gambling and odds of winning. We'll start small. Consider the basic coin flip. Simple, elegant, no frills. Assuming a properly weighted coin, you have a 50-50 chance of correctly guessing the outcome of a coin flip. Heads or tails is all you need to know. It's a game of chance that toddlers could play. Now let's complicate things. Assume you are playing craps with standard Vegas rules. Craps seems complicated, but it's actually pretty simple. Essentially, you are placing a bet against one or more of a variety of different outcomes of a roll of two six-sided die. One of the most common, simple, and favorable bets is the pass line bet. To do this, you place your wager on the pass line, and then you roll the dice. If you get a 7 or an 11, then you instantly win, and your money is doubled. If you get a 4, 6, 8, 9, or 10, then whatever number you rolled becomes the point. You then have to continue rolling the dice until you hit that number again before you roll a 7. If you, the shooter, succeed, your money is doubled. If you roll a 7 before you hit the point, you lose. If you hit 2, 3, or 12, this is called craps, and you lose. Those basically exist for house advantage. This bet has the highest probability of winning at the craps table, with a 22% chance of the shooter either rolling a 7 or 11 before hitting the point before they 7 out or crap out. But maybe you like a different game. Maybe you like to play cards. So let's play some blackjack. In this game, you're trying to get the higher score of cards without going over 21 while going against the house. Number cards are worth their shown value, face cards are worth 10, and aces are worth 1 or 11. At the start of the round, you are dealt 2 cards. Then on your turn, you have the opportunity to request additional cards, or hit, in an attempt to increase your score without going over 21. There are some odd things like doubling down and splitting, but we're going to keep it simple. If your 2 cards are already 21, then you have a blackjack, and you automatically win a payout, assuming the dealer didn't open with 21 as well. The dealer wins all ties. More of that house advantage. Now, most casinos play with between 6 or 8 52-card decks with the jokers removed. So let's say that you are playing a game dealt from 6 shuffled decks. Assuming typical casino rules where the dealer has strict guidelines on when they can hit or stay, the odds of winning a payout are at roughly 42%. But maybe gambling isn't your thing. Maybe you prefer to wager war over pen and paper and partake in tabletop RPGs. The most popular tabletop RPG and the one that I play is Dungeons & Dragons 5th Edition. There are whole channels devoted to explaining the complex rules of this game, but I'll use a simple mechanic for demonstration purposes. When engaged in combat, many of the attacks you can attempt require a roll to hit. Basically, you're rolling a 20-sided die, or D20, in order to determine if you are successful in your attempt to attack. The nifty part is that if your D20 lands on a 20, your attack roll is automatically successful, and you now get to attack with critical damage. Your chances of rolling a natural 20 or nat 20 are 1 in 20 or 5%. Games are fun, aren't they? But what if you want the ultimate challenge? What if you want to play a game with an even smaller chance at winning than any of the games I previously mentioned? What if you want to play a game with the most brutal odds and the highest stakes? A game that could shape your fate. A game where winning can mean luxury, safety, and security. A game where losing could potentially mean death. Today we're going to talk about the game with the worst odds of them all. Today we are going to talk about succeeding under capitalism. The truth is, under our current system, you have a roughly 4% chance of escaping poverty in your lifetime. That's if you're born poor. That is because we play a funny game in this country. The game is called neoliberal capitalism. And I gotta say, how we engage with it as a concept, how we characterize the gameplay, has always perplexed me. It's not that I don't understand the victory conditions. If you were to open up the instruction book and check the ways to win section, it's pretty clear that there is only one way to win the game. Be lucky. Seriously, be lucky. That's it. That's the only way to achieve the victory condition. As I said in the intro, I am talking about gambling. We're playing a game here, after all. People try to reframe the luck element into a lot of different tangibles, but ultimately it boils down to being lucky. When experts tell you that it is important to get an education, they really mean that you need to be lucky enough to have the means to afford higher education, have the right set of cognitive abilities to succeed in our outdated academic model, and know the right people going into it. A little while back, an investigation made headlines when it exposed the phenomenon of wealthy parents who were essentially gaming the system and giving out payola to get their terrible children accepted into top universities. Also, I use the term phenomenon with heavy air quotes because really any poor college student with two functioning eyes already knows that the wealthy are on a completely different playing field. This is common knowledge. When they tell you to make smart investments, they're really saying that you need to be lucky enough to already have some form of capital to invest, be it loans from family and friends, or maybe a living arrangement that allows you to accrue wealth while minimizing your own cost of living. When they say, don't have children out of wedlock, they really mean to be lucky enough to never have an unplanned pregnancy, lucky enough to never be raped, lucky enough to have access to family planning and birth control, lucky enough to not experience a divorce or death of a partner. But, of course, you can be really lucky. You might just hit the life jackpot. Roll a nat 20 on existence. Draw a king and an ace on your delivery day. Yep, I'm talking about being born wealthy. Those born into wealth have a 91% chance of remaining wealthy for their lifetime. Those are great odds. So just, make sure you're rolling hot while you're in the womb. When we refer to something as a game, that implies that there is a way to win. But this also means that there is a way to lose. And as with most games, it is far easier to lose than it is to win at capitalism. The win condition is luck. For an outcome to be considered lucky, it means that the odds were stacked against that outcome. And this is very true with capitalism. Luck may be the one winning condition, but unlike most games, there are a variety of losing conditions. You could become chronically ill in your 30s and wipe out whatever savings you had with medical bills. You could be supporting your family working in construction, then break your leg in a car accident and no longer be able to work the only vocation you have any training in. You could succumb to a mental health disorder during your junior year in college and have to drop out with tens of thousands in student loan debt and no degree to show for it. You could be a victim of systemic racism. You could be a victim of systemic sexism. You could be a victim of systemic ableism. The primary income earner in your household could experience any of the above. Your home could burn to the ground in a wildfire. Your home could be washed out to sea by a hurricane or flood. Your home could be blown away by a tornado. Your home could be reduced to rubble by an earthquake. You could experience a divorce where one partner doesn't have an income. You could be saddled with debilitating physical injury and crippling PTSD after being conned into enlisting in the armed forces with the promise of future financial solvency and being attacked on the soil of a foreign country that you're illegally occupying. You could get laid off during a mishandled pandemic. You could then get evicted during said pandemic. This is just a short list, by the way, far from exhaustive. There's a whole lot more I can't even get into. But that's a lot of nat ones, don't you think? There are so many ways to go bust with every hand that life deals you under capitalism. It is clear that being born into capitalism is the biggest gamble known to man. Thing is, though, the people who perpetuate this system know this. They are very aware that it isn't really possible for the majority of the population to ever be successful under the current system. They know it, and they rely on it. The primary tool in military recruitment is the opportunity to have one's college education subsidized. How successful would their recruitment campaigns be if college education was provided tuition-free at taxpayer expense, like a public good comparable to the K-12 public schools system? Universal health care would cost corporations less than they're currently paying for private employer-sponsored plans. But that's not the reason they fight against it tooth and nail. Healthcare exists to these companies as a bargaining chip. It is something they can use to lure in applicants and something they can threaten to remove if a workplace attempts to organize. But we've been taught to defend this system. We've been conditioned to see this as the default, to keep playing the game. See it as an unchanging constant, and those in power don't want us to question this arrangement. Those who accrue a large collection of currency don't want to engage with the idea that the rules weren't fair or that others did not get the same opportunities. So they claim that everyone had the chance to succeed. They make poverty a personal failing, at the same time ensuring that economic success is characterized as winning a competition, a race to the top. Corporations pride themselves on how competitive and cutthroat their environments are, but there is one thing that we must remember. If achieving financial solvency is a game, that means there are winners, and if there are winners, then there must be losers. But unlike playing a game at a table, when people lose in real life, the need for food, shelter, clothing, and medicine doesn't just go away. So maybe it's time we play a different game. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and leave a comment with the name of the new game you think we should be playing. Follow me on Twitch, where I stream games and give lectures. Follow me on Twitter, where we can debate why 5th edition is the best edition. And if you're so inclined to help me make future videos like these, I do have a Patreon. Thanks again.